G'day everyone, and welcome to another video from Le Mans. So this is carrying on from the previous video, which will be linked in the description below if you'd like to have a look at that. But I'm opening this video up with another qualifying lap. So, of course, the previous video had my 4 minutes point 3, but I'm showing you another one, which means I obviously improved it. And I don't want to spoil it, but I improved it by quite a bit. So I'm going to take you through a lap here of Le Mans. So turn 1 and turn 2 flat out, Dunlop chicane, turn 3 and 4, you just want to cut the second apex there, but not the first one. You'll get a penalty from the first one. So coming through this little complex now, so you want to just sort of keep a nice racing line through here. So brake just a little bit late. You want to get the full camber of this corner, so don't go wide like I did just then. That corner's flat out if you get it right, and coming up towards Turret Rouge. So if you just trail brake a little bit, you can cut that a little bit and just extend the corner a bit, but you want to keep two wheels on the curb and most of the car on the blue, and you'll avoid a penalty. So as we come down the straight now, this is really just a matter of, you know, keeping full throttle and changing gear at the optimal time to minimise power disruption to the wheels. So as we accelerate down towards here now, there's a braking point for the first chicane here. So there's a gap in the wall coming up now, and then if you, I just pause it actually, but there's a gap in the wall coming up, and just on the grass after the wall there's a little divot in it, and that's where I brake, and it just sets me into the corner nicely. So you can see there, I just put two wheels over each curb, the appropriate wheels obviously, and we get a nice run through there. So once again, you've got to focus on the exit of that chicane and then accelerate down towards the second chicane. So of course, this being a variation that houses the two chicanes there on the straight. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name, it's like Les Honaudières or something like that. But anyway, so coming towards the second chicane, there is braking boards, but they're very hard to see. But so through the week, I was just kind of guessing braking points each time for this particular chicane, and I just get it perfect this time as we get the power down nicely and accelerate down towards Mulsanne Corner. So Mulsanne Corner, extremely tight. It's almost a hairpin, I suppose, but you got to get the braking point absolutely nailed. You got to absolutely be on it to get a good time round here. So here we go, you brake just after the start of the curb there. We're going to brake down and just go through the gears into second gear and hop over. Cut that quite a bit actually. That's the first time I cut it that much, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's the end of the lap there, get a nice penalty for that, but we don't. So I'm not quite sure how much you can cut that corner, obviously by at least as much as I did. So coming up through here now, so these actually do count as corners, turns 21 and 22. Really, it's kind of straight to me, but anyway, so you just take a nice racing line through there, just clip each apex nicely. So coming up towards turn 23, you just trail brake through here and just ride the camber, then full on the brakes for turns 24 and 25 coming through here now. So that's turn 24 as we just accelerate here, and now there's no real braking point, there's nothing to reference, so you just sort of brake and then hop over the curb there. See just how much I cut that and didn't get a penalty, so I'm really pushing track limits at the moment. But we managed to keep a clean lap, and you see in the bottom right corner it's the delta, so they're almost split times on a 4 minute point 9. I don't know where that time has come from, but it doesn't quite matter. But here we go, Porsche curves now, so you just brake, go down to 4th gear for the first one, and you just ride the curb and around, so then you accelerate up to 5th gear. You can get these flat out if you get it right. I just turned in a little bit late, and then brake once again down to 4th gear, and then brake a little bit more, keep it in 4th, just half throttle through there, and then full on the throttle to bring it out, and then you turn in nice and early for this one, as it can be really deceiving. You can go a little bit on the little stripe curb there, but not too much. So Corvette curves are nice and easy, it's just a straight line those. Now Ford chicanes, this is really difficult at the end of the lap. So brake down 3rd gear for the first one, just sort of half the car over each curb and then brake again, use the downshift to rotate the car into the second chicane. I managed to get that nicely, don't squirm all over the curb, and you see it's at 3 minute 38.9. So improving that by, what was it, a 4 minute point 3, whatever that is, like 2 seconds or something. Can't be bothered to work that out in my head. So here's the race that immediately preceded that. So let's see if we can have let's see if we can replicate the magic run I had there. So here we are, we're in 2nd place now, we're BB rated still, really struggling to get out of sort of the B realm there. But we got a Supra up ahead, so he's got good top end, but not quite as good as mine, let's be honest. So here we go, we do start after the chicane this time, so that is a good thing for a launch there. So I don't know why I'm in cockpit view. I was sort of experimenting a bit, I guess, but it doesn't matter as we managed to keep in the super slipstream now. Coming up towards the Dunlop chicane, I almost go into the back of him, but I think I managed to pull it up in time, as I don't receive an SR down. I don't think I do. I don't think so. No, I didn't go into the back of him, but I just want to be in his slipstream for the straight. So here we go, around whatever turn that is, turn 7 I think. So we managed to go into chase cam now, so I just decided for Turk Rouge, all my references are in chase cam, so I go into chase cam to get that nice, but I go back into cockpit. I don't know what I was doing. I should have kept it in the same view I was sort of practicing in. So fast forwarding now, we'll break down towards the first chicane there. We'll get up a lot of ground on the Supra, so my brakes might be a bit better, or he braked a little bit early and I braked a little bit late, I don't know. But I caught up a lot of ground on him. But anyway, so we're still in his slipstream, 7 tenths behind, soon to be 6 tenths, there we go. So we're going to be catching up a lot of speed on him. You can see how fast it's accelerating, and considering it's 6th gear, that's accelerating pretty quickly. So we're halfway down the straight bit now, we're now pretty much 280 kilometers an hour. We're going to be able to get a move up into the second chicane now. So of course braking really important. I think I just brake a little bit early and I just let him go back in ahead, but I don't think I was going to keep that position without contact, as I just got a little bit wide off the second apex and I just get a little bit of oversteer. So the car's sort of shuffling around a bit. Someone was actually streaming at the time I was recording this, so obviously my Wi-Fi not able to keep up with two sort of simultaneous uses, or heavy uses I guess. So after Mulsanne corner, you see the guy in third place, Doche GT, has caught up quite a bit of ground. He's now near enough 7 tenths behind. But I'm not sure what he's doing, because he's lost that slipstream. But yeah, he's definitely lost the slipstream. Looking at that gap now, actually, he's nearly lost 8 tenths. But I suppose I'm pulling away in the slipstream of the Supra, so my top speed will be massive compared to his. So we just back off a bit. I don't want to go into the back of him and end up pushing him off the track and getting a penalty. That'd be a disaster. We come through here, keep it in third gear, and we just touch the gravel, but manage to keep it under control as we break down towards turn 25. So you want to hop over the curb, but look how close I was, just over the line, and you know what that means? A penalty, albeit only half a second, but you saw how much I cut that corner in my qualifying lap. So honestly, inconsistent track limits. You see someone gets a massive load of oversteer as I quickly look behind, but it's honestly, it's stuff like that. Like, why are the track limits different between qualifying and the race? Like, come on, that's bad. But speaking of bad, I just turned in a bit early for the final Porsche curve there and end up extending my penalty by a second just before the penalty line. So instead of serving half a second, I'm going to serve a full second. So as we serve the penalty, you see Doche GT comes up beside and brakes for the chicanes. We're going there side by side, and that was really messy. I probably should have backed up a bit more. He should have waited for me. Not too sure. I receive a nice punt, cut the corner, and get a 3-second penalty. And that's not because I cut the corner. I was pushed into that. It's because Doche GT drove off the track after there. And then to add insult to injury, just look how much I cut this. I pause it. It's almost like as the tyre started to curve up, it sort of left, it didn't quite touch the white line, and that registered a penalty. Oh, if I was a millimetre further to the left, I think I would have avoided that one. Like, genuinely, I genuinely believe that. If I was a millimetre over to the left, I would have avoided that penalty. But it is what it is, and I lose position as I serve all 3.5 seconds of my penalty, so absolute disaster. Doche GT manages to catch up a load of that gap there, and he manages to make his way past us. I'm just trying to recover from all that penalty. So of course the penalty gate's being located at the start of the straight, and that's pretty common for most tracks, so you end up losing a heap of time. It's a really good deterrent for not getting penalties. But here we go through the second chicane now. We managed to get that not too badly on the power nice and early, and Doche GT just has a nice bit of lag there, but of course that's my internet, not his. So here we go, accelerating down. So you'll see the difference in the top speeds now. So here we go, Doche GT is in the Ford Mustang and I'm in the McLaren, obviously. Just see how quickly I'm closing in that gap. I've indicated, so if he looks behind, he knows I'm going for the move. I brake just a little bit too late, as it turns out, and look what happens. I try to make the apex, but no, I end up ricocheting into the gravel. So an absolute disaster. Just trying to overdrive, or over-race, if that's a thing. Just trying to over-race, I think, and I get a bit of oversteer trying to get back going. So XX Billy makes his way past, and that's really it. From the end of the race, you see the gap remained exactly the same, and I managed to finish in 6th. So not quite the performance I was hoping for, considering I had an absolute ripper qualifying lap, but it is what it is, and I guess that's really a good sign to let that race go for the week. So I did a few races there, and I don't know, that was really all that I decided was interesting enough. So here's the next race now, race A, for this same week, a little bit different. So I tend to stray away from race A a bit. It's not terribly interesting. I've done it a few times and it's produced good videos. I just want to like shuffle my papers here to get car stats up. There we go. So the car I'm using, obviously, is not obviously, it's not obvious at all. It's the Porsche 356 A1500 GS GT Carrera Speedster. I'm just going to call it the Porsche, or the Porsche 356 is what everyone says. But it's a relic from 1956, and we're in a one-make race around Brands Hatch. So this is my qualifying lap. You see, as I normally do actually, open up the races with a qualifying lap. That makes sense, doesn't it? Does make sense to me. But we're down the straight now. We're 2/10 up on a 101.8, so it's going to be a 101.610. So that's the qualifying lap around here. We skip ahead just to the end of the matching session now, and I managed to keep it in third gear going through Graham Hill Bend now, and look how much of a gap that manages to pull out. Look, I just zoomed down, let's have a look, we're 5/10 up now on the 101.6, 6/10 up, 7/10 up, and we're going to just zoom out and see the final quarter. But look, I'm matching right now, so a break down towards the final quarter, just lose a little bit of time, but just before it blacks out, I was actually gaining 7/10, so that really could have been, what, a 1 minute 0.9 or something, but, so that was annoying, because I was really only going to do one race of this. I wasn't really going to do too many more, as it's not something that I typically enjoy. But here we go. So there's the grid. Grid of 10 races. Oh, God. Not really the kind of race that most people are looking for at Gran Turismo, hence the smaller lobby size. But here we go, revving the relic up for turn 1. Absolutely just lunge forward. Just see all the weight go to the back, and I just start looking up at the sky. But here we go, coming down towards turn 1. We're in 5th place, exactly halfway through the grid. But we'll see what chaos happens down towards turn 1. So here we go. I just go around the outside of, what's his name, Alahawk there, but I just get a bit of oversteer on the curb and get a poor run up the hill. Test Pilot makes his way past, and I almost get another move done by DR30, but I managed to make my way past Alahawk again, and once again someone was streaming, so that's why the cars are sort of moving around awkwardly. But we're still in 5th place after a few turns there, so coming through Graham Hill Bend there, someone's wide, and he manages to come back on the track and almost push his competitor off. You see there's a load of fighting, but now the red car comes across, and then the green car tries to retaliate. You see there's a whole load of fighting. Green car, and they sort of separate, all going slow, and I go up the middle of the both of them. So that was honestly ridiculous fighting. They should just, people can barely drive in a straight line in these lobbies. But we managed to go up 2 positions, so we're now in a podium position. And the leader, crucially, has a 2-second penalty. So when you're in the lead, the main idea is to sort of pull away from 2nd place. So you don't want to be in slipstream for the... you don't want 2nd place to be in your slipstream, so because that just means they'll be gaining every time. They'll be gaining all the time, actually. So the idea is to not get a penalty. But we see that coming through Druids now, that 1st place is actually going to serve his penalty. I think there's penalty gates coming out of Graham Hill Bend, so that will be where that penalty gets served. So coming through here, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to keep it in 3rd gear, as I know how much time you gain from there. So we just see Chinese Coin. He manages to go into 2nd place after serving his penalty, so Barra Bowman is up into 1st. So that means the entire 1st-2nd pack is now much closer to me, as I just go into the back awkwardly of Chinese Coin, as he's sort of in the way, going all slow thanks to his penalty. So we're looking up around the outside now of Chinese Coin. I don't think we're going to quite get the move done, but let's see what happens into turn 1 as we go on the straight. So in slipstream now, of course, these slow cars are not going to feel the effects of slipstream quite as much as faster cars with high sort of aero setups on it. But we'll just see, we just almost cut the corner actually, we don't want to do that. But nothing too much happens. So we've now got Taken behind. I think he's quite eager for a move. He's actually flashing his headlights at me. So if you're interested, I'm looking at the rearview mirror of my actual car. You can quite clearly see the little green car sort of swiping back and forth across there. So he catches up a lot of ground and almost goes into the back of me, almost reading my bumper part number. But from all this sort of defensive driving, see the leader's actually extended the gap a bit, 2 seconds ahead now, and you know, it's a close race when you say extend to 2 seconds for the leader, but it's not too bad considering all the sort of messy driving that's been happening here. So the Porsche that I'm driving is an N100 car, so it's not very quick at all. It only boasts 108 horsepower, so not that quick, to be honest. We'll see if anything happens into turn 1. Yes, second place goes wide. Are we going to manage to make up the position? No, he just comes across the inside of the track. Taken tries to split the difference and goes up the inside. In fact, he doesn't try. He forces his way through, even though it probably wasn't quite there. But he manages to make it stick through Druids and then manages to gain up into second place. So a massive loss from Barra Bowman from second into fourth, and then a massive gain from Tackle from fourth into second. So that means that, yes, I'm still in third. But speaking of third, that's the gear I keep it in, going through Graham Hill Bend, and I managed to catch up a little bit of ground to Tackle now. So I do suspect he may be putting it into second gear or braking too much. So we come through the final corner now. We're going to look up the inside attack, and as he goes wide, but he just manages to keep grip there. So obviously he got on the power nice and early and just sort of used the shape of the corner to accelerate out in a nice curve. So the track at the moment that we're on, we'll just see just after turn 1 actually. So Tacken just slides wide in a nice drift. You just see he comes back on. It looks like I push him off as he ends up in the gravel. It comes back on. You can see my rear view mirror and just gets a very massive tad of oversteer and ends up in the grass. You saw all that in my rear view mirror. You can please rewind that if you'd like to have a look. But that means we're now into second place. So what I was going to say before, the track we're on, I haven't talked about that yet. So it's Brands Hatch. It's just the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. So it's the little top bit, of course. Instead of turning left here, going down towards the rest of the track, I just go straight into the final corner. So it's a little sort of karting track, sort of club racing circuit. Boasts 6 turns. It's only 1.9 kilometers in length, and the longest straight, which is the one I'm on now, of about 400 meters. Couldn't really find a proper figure on that, so I had to sort of measure it myself. But anyway, so we're posting a purple lap now, so we've got 1 lap to go to catch up on Chinese Coin. So he was, I think he was the pole sitter, so he's back where he started, but I think I'm faster than him because I was 2 seconds ahead before him now, 4 tenths behind actually. So I've managed to catch up 1.6 seconds, so I think I'm quicker than him, and actually, obviously, posting the fastest lap, I'm definitely quicker than him, obviously. So as you come through here, this is kind of the last real overtaking opportunities if he makes a mistake through there, but he doesn't. He manages to get a good run off there, actually, 5 tenths ahead now and gaining. So we're going to have the final corner now, so turn 5 now, and we're going to brake now, and then turn 6 Clark Curve, coming through here now, and I don't think it's going to be enough to make a move on him coming down the straight, but we'll try as best as we can. We're going to get into the slipstream now. I don't think it's going to be enough, and yeah, the finish line is like 3 seconds away. It's not going to be enough to make a move on him, and we end up crossing the line in second place. So there we go, I managed to keep the whole race in there today, so obviously I decided the entire race was interesting enough to have in there as one piece. So that's it there, in second place. So quite a mix, well actually not really a mix at all, there's a few different nationalities there, but really there's not that much interest in a one make around a short track, especially when you've got Group 3 Le Mans to contend with. But there we go, second place. I did get the fastest lap of that race, so quite happy with that. The little Porsche propelling me to second place quite nicely. I'm happy with that performance, not too bad, but that's the end of the video. So I hope you enjoyed the races from this particular week of Gran Turismo daily races. Of course, Group 3 Le Mans being my clear favourite, and then just trying out Race A for the banter and for the memes, I guess. Race C, I think, was another super formula around Suzuka. Not really my cup of tea, so I didn't go with that one that week. But I do look to give Super Formula a try. That's when I win one, because I'm probably not going to buy one. It's not my kind of car. But anyway, that's the end of the video, and that means that's it from me. So I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.